Hello, everybody, and welcome to Late Night Football. Welcome to another match reaction episode. It's finished. Everton 1, Manchester United 0. And I mean, show of hands, how many people saw that result coming? I did. I said it yesterday as well, and then the patch preview, and people, God was like, got a smirk, Kanaya had a smirk. But the reality is, as I said, this is probably the easiest of the four fixtures coming up for Everton. If they don't get 3 points from this, it'll be hard to see where they get it from, but they got the 3 points here. And it turned out to be the easiest fixture. I don't think Leicester, Liverpool, or Chelsea are going to be as bad as United were in that game. Absolutely embarrassing, absolutely humiliating, and absolutely depressing performance that they put in that game. And I mean, we'll talk about United, but I want to start off with Everton. I thought they were excellent in most parts of the game. I thought the goal was lucky, but that's kind of the way it's going these days with United. I mean, that goal was lucky, but to be fair, you make your own luck. I mean, Anthony got into that shot. He was fortunate that the person that it hit was Maguire, because Maguire really can't seem to do anything right at the moment. And then it goes in, and that's about it. And then they defended well. They defended really, really well. I thought they controlled that midfield. No surprises there. And they just look so good. They just look so compact. They look like a team. And everything that United had, whatever United threw at them, and which wasn't a lot really, Everton just dealt with that. I thought Godfrey was excellent. I thought Richarlison was excellent. Fabian Delph was good. Too bad he's injury prone, but I thought he was good today. And then, of course, there were some other good performances as well in there. I don't think anybody really had a bad game for Everton. I think everybody got at least a 6.5, 7 out of 10. I think that's what you need. Some obviously got more than that, but I'm saying, and nobody got below a 6.5 or a 7. So, and that's what you need. It's just what you need in games, right? As long as everybody contributes, as long as everybody pulls their weight, you get the results that you need. I think this is a massive 3 points for Everton, because if they hadn't won this, Burnley should beat Norwich tomorrow. So that would have been a tough thing for them, because then they would have gone into the relegation zone. So at least now, even if Burnley do beat Norwich, they'll still be above them in the relegation zone, in the relegation fight. And of course, they also close that gap a little bit to Leeds as well. So I think in case Leeds get sucked back in, they've closed that gap a little bit there as well on them. So it's a good result for Everton. I think I hope they don't get relegated. I like Everton. They're one of my, not necessarily one of my second teams, so they're one of my, I have a soft corner for them. So I hope they don't get relegated. But this is a massive boost for them. And then, of course, coming to Man United, I mean, he didn't play too badly today, but as soon as it's just become this point with Harry Maguire. When he starts, you almost start at a 1-0 deficit. You're almost like saying yourself, sometimes there's things that we say, when you have this person, you're starting in -1 or you're starting in -2, so you're kind of covering that up. I think Harry Maguire is like a points deduction, right? So Harry Maguire is like a goals deduction for Manchester United almost at this point. I think, I mean, he wasn't bad today. Let me just clarify this. He wasn't bad today. I thought he was average, below average, but he wasn't bad. But just, I mean, he can't seem to do anything right at the moment. He just can't seem to do anything right at the moment. And all the bad moments, they seem to go through him. Even the deflection, was it really his fault? Probably not. But again, it had to be him. It had to be him who had to get that deflection for the goal. So, I mean, that's just, I don't know. I don't know what I mean, of course, Ron wasn't available today, so he had to start. But, maybe Bailly deserved to start. I don't know what he needs to do more to get dropped. I don't think he's going to get dropped at this point, at least until the end of the season. Because if he hasn't been dropped now, I just don't see where that drop is coming. So it's got to deal with that, I guess. I thought Bruno Fernandes was probably the worst player on the pitch. And again, I mean, an abysmal. I mean, that pass towards the end of the game, I think, summed up his performance. He just looked completely devoid of ideas, completely lacking any kind of, understanding or any kind of, I would say spirit. I mean, the spirit was broken. For Bruno Fernandes, he just looked like totally lost and totally, broken. In some ways, it's just a bad performance. Pogba, for me, another player who was pretty bad. And I think the theme really here is that there are players who, who should have kicked on. There are a lot of players who looked like who it's not even, I wouldn't even say regression. I think it's players who we expected to do better. They've kind of just strolled through, and they've kind of now looked like much worse than they were even a year ago. They've just looked bad. I mean, you could name Bissaka, who was again very poor today. Marcus Rashford, okay, but again, you expect more from him. He just didn't deliver today. And by the way, I just have to point this out. There was a comment, I think it was Martin Keown, who was kind of going after Anthony Elanga, like, oh, Ralph Rangnick's made a substitution, brought an Elanga who's done nothing. Well, again, English bias, right? English bias again. But what has Marcus Rashford done Marcus Rashford shouldn't even be starting games, but he started because he had to. So he started the game. He didn't do anything for the 60 minutes that he was on. Yeah, he got a couple of chances which he missed. I don't really count that. Okay, so he missed chances, right? That's really not a marker to say that somebody deserves to be starting games, and then you suddenly go on to a 19-year-old guy just because he's not English, right? So I mean, Marcus Rashford was okay, but not great. But again, someone is regressed. Paul Pogba supposed to be this world-class midfielder. He's now a bench warmer for a mid-table team, because that's what United are, the mid-table team. Same thing with Cristiano Ronaldo. I thought had a poor game as well. He didn't get a lot of service, but I don't think that's an excuse. I think he's got to do more. And I'll call him out. I don't, I know people who kind of go in on him. I'm not going to go in on Cristiano Ronaldo, but I do have to call out the fact that he was pretty poor today. I think the whole team looked bad. And again, that's the difference. Everton looked like a team. United just looked like a collection of individuals who had no idea what the other person was doing. And they just had, it was like the same pattern. If you watch the game, the same pattern. De Gea passes it to Maguire passes it sideways to Telles then passes it to Sancho. Sancho kind of tries to do and then Telles does an overlap, and Sancho kind of puts in the ball to Telles. Telles sometimes crosses, sometimes he passes back because there's nobody in the box. I mean, it's just repetition. There was nothing going on. And again, I need to clarify, I'm not going to blame Rangnick for this. I don't think Rangnick is very responsible for anything, because he has no idea what's going on. He has no idea what to do with this group of players, because these group of players have no idea how to play the system that he wants to play. So, I mean, you really can't blame him for it. I really can't. There's nothing there to say about it, because, I mean, if he had got a player and that player was doing badly, we could say something. But he's tried everything. He's tried all sorts of different plays. He's tried all sorts of different combinations. Nothing's worked. And when nothing works, at some point you've got to then start looking at not the manager, but start looking at the players. And I think that's, thankfully, a lot of the fans are doing that, and that's got to continue. Where do United go from here? I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, Godfrey is gone. Will they get Conference League position at this point? It's hard to say. I mean, the Wolves lost, so that was good for United, because this game wasn't a must-win game. But they could finish eighth. They could finish 8th or 9th this season. Might be difficult. I think Wolves will drop points, so I think that they're lucky that they're in a fight with Wolves for that 7th spot, and not with someone like Spurs or Arsenal, who are of course fighting much higher up the table. So I mean, it'll be hard. It'll be hard for them to finish 6th. I think 7th or 8th is where now we're looking at. And it just, if in a season where you're supposed to challenge for the title, right? That's what some people are talking about, title challenges and title wins. Here we are talking about whether they're going to finish 7th or 8th. So a Conference League spot at the moment, I mean, assuming 7th is a Conference League spot, that will be hard to achieve. But, maybe other teams will drop, and that's what it is. Maybe other teams will drop enough points that United can claim it, because I don't see where. I honestly don't see. I think there's 8 games left, I think, in the season for United. I don't think they're going to get more than 10 points. Honestly, I don't see them getting more than 10 points. Because they still got to play Arsenal, they still got to play Chelsea, and they still got to play Liverpool. So that's straight away you're getting 0 points from there. And then you got 5 games where you've got to pick up 10 points. I don't know. So we'll see what happens. Disappointing game as always, but I think we're kind of getting used to it. I think this season is kind of just like one of those, I think somebody said sim the season, right? And that's what you do. If you're playing FIFA, you just sim the season from here, like, screw it. Let us close the chapter on the season, try and rebuild again. But that's what it is. I mean, there's so much more to get into, but I think for now, the quick bites here is that it's another poor performance. It really is embarrassing, and United are due a massive rebuild this season, at the end of the season, I think, because honestly, looking at that 11, and of course there are a couple of players that are missing from the ideal 11, but just looking at that 11, how many players are going to make it to the squad next season? How many of those 11 players would you pick for Erik ten Hag even fancy next season? I mean, how many is going to be able to get out? How many is he going to be able to get in? Those 11 players on the pitch, most of them, all of them might not be there next season. I mean, and if you look at the 14 players that he brought on, probably the only one that's going to be there is Elanga, who Ten Hag might say I fancy if it's going to be Ten Hag. He's probably going to look at Elanga and say that's the only one I fancy, because the other 13 players all stank the bed today, and I don't see any of them being Ten Hag type players. So it'll be interesting to see what happens this summer. For now, it's another disappointing result. Congratulations to Everton. Congratulations to Everton fans. It's a massive result for them, of course, in the fight for against relegation. And hopefully that this will build some momentum and they can carry that forward and try to get a few good results. Because it would be nice. I wouldn't want to see them getting the drop. But of course, commiserations to United fans. But you know what? It's just the way it is right now. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the episode. Please do smash like if you enjoyed this one. Please do subscribe to the channel if you're new. Please follow us on Facebook and YouTube. And of course, have a good day or night, whatever time you're watching this. I mean, if you're a United fan, just try to just try and think of this as, the start of a weekend, right? Just forget about what has happened and think of this as the start of a weekend and try to go from there. That's just the thing that we can do now is just forget about this. But take care. See you again soon. Bye-bye.